just when you thought the draft was over. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check. You guys know I don't typically do wrestling news. I don't do the Sean's View entertainment shtick. I mean, if I want to see videos like that, I'll see very good ones over on my buddy OKFave's channel, but this is kind of cool. This kind of struck me, so I thought I'd get up. And I mean, I've been reviewing the draft, etc. This is sort of an extension of the draft, so I figure it's worth mentioning. Speaking of the draft, did my review of SmackDown on Tuesday, and unfortunately Guapo and Chris were not able to make it due to conflicts and whatnot. Tried, for those of you that don't know, to get up there and do a live stream by my damn self. It was awkward as fuck, to the point where the Angry Mark kind of stepped in and saved me from myself, so that was kind of fun. Go check it out, and I will say 3-4 more days to get your questions in for Ask the Phoenix. Now, everything in the draft is split down the middle, just like it was before, including commentary. And now I know this isn't new news, this came out a couple days ago, but here is the news. The new Monday Night Raw announced team is going to be Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton. SmackDown is going to be Mauro Ranallo, JBL, and David Otunga. Superstars, which is a subsidiary of Raw now. Specifically, they've said Raw Superstars are going to compete on Superstars. SmackDown Superstars are going to compete on Main Event. Just means those two shows are going to be taped before Raw and SmackDown, respectively. Superstars is going to be commentated by Tom Phillips and Corey Graves. Main Event is going to be commentated by Tom Phillips and David Otunga. Now, that leaves out Booker T, and it leaves out Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler and Booker T, according to No DQ, according to a couple of other places I've been today, are not fired. They're not done with WWE. They're going to be lending their opinions and their talents, etc., to the kickoffs, to the pre-shows, etc. They're going to be paired up with preview and panel type groups with people later to be announced, which is fine and which is cool. But there's a couple of questions that have to come out of all of this. Corey Graves being on Raw is the big one that hits me. I like Corey Graves' commentary style, I really do. I think he's professional enough that he fits with the rest of the commentators, but he's unique enough that he has his own voice. Byron Saxton I could do with or without. My problem with that is my ultimate commentary team would be Corey Graves and Mauro Ranallo. Two-man booth, let them do a whole show. But WWE kind of met me halfway on this when they gave me Corey Graves on the flagship show. Let's be real. As much as after the draft, I am fully Team Blue, Team SmackDown. I got my buddies Breezango. I could potentially have the Hype Bros. I got Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss. You know how I feel about all these people. I'm definitely Team Blue. But Raw is still the flagship show. Raw is also going to be the brand that introduces the Cruiserweight division. So I can't ignore Raw either. So Corey Graves being on Raw is fucking great. David Otunga filled in for Jerry Lawler when he was having his whatever he had about a month ago, the legal issues that he had. I don't know. It's very tabloid-ish, and I didn't really want to do a video on it because I like the King. If he fucked up in his personal life, whatever. But whatever. In the meantime, while he was off TV, we had David Otunga in there. And David Otunga is really good in his role. He's a good third. I don't like a three-man booth, but he's a good third voice. Byron Saxton isn't a horrible third voice either. I mean, they're just punching bags for the other two commentators. But it is what it is. David Otunga is not somebody I mind being on a commentary team on SmackDown. JBL moving from Raw to SmackDown is a little bit different. JBL on commentary first started on SmackDown, so that's a natural thing. I think the intelligence of JBL and the intelligence of Mauro Ranallo are going to bounce off each other really well. And as I said, I think Otunga is going to be the odd man out. He's going to be the punching bag a little bit. Mauro Ranallo, you guys know when I was reviewing SmackDown earlier this year, the main reason I started watching SmackDown more intently was because Mauro Ranallo on commentary is fucking fantastic. He really is. And I'm not saying I have a bias because I used to watch, there was a wrestling show up here in Canada, some of you know this, some of you don't, called Aftermath. Used to be hosted by Arky Zuber, Norm Souza, Jimmy Corderas, former WWE referee, and sometimes Mauro Ranallo. You had Renee Paquette, who you guys all know as Renee Young, and you had, oh, what the hell's her name? what the hell is it? It's Nancy something, I think, now. But I knew Mauro Ranallo before he came to the WWE, much like I knew Kyle Edwards, aka Arda Ocal, before he came to the WWE, much like I knew Renee Young when she was Renee Paquette. It's a really cool thing. But Mauro Ranallo, he adds such a legitimate. He doesn't make the show legitimate, but he speaks about it as more of a legitimate show, and I think that's what SmackDown needs if SmackDown is going to shake that that secondary nature that it has. Now, Raw is still the prime show. Raw has never left Monday Night Raw. SmackDown has bounced all over the place. Raw has 3 hours. SmackDown has 2. Raw is going to have the Cruiserweight division. SmackDown needs to have something specific to it. It's a struggle, and just going live is the first step in the right direction. Mauro Ranallo and the legitimacy that he brings to that commentator booth is going to be a big linchpin of getting SmackDown up off the ground. Now, this is might be a funny thing to say, because I don't think anybody watches Superstars and Main Event on a regular basis, but Tom Phillips is commentating both Superstars and Main Event. So, in the list of great guys like Mauro Ranallo, Michael Cole, Corey Graves, JBL, David Otunga, Byron Saxton, Tom Phillips is the only guy that's going to be commentating on wrestlers from both brands, which puts him in a really unique spot. He sees everybody, and I think that will come into play closer to SummerSlam, closer to Survivor Series, closer to, if they bring back the bragging rights pay-per-view, and definitely closer to WrestleMania. Pay-per-views where the rosters are likely to cross paths and interact with each other. WWE would do good with this little side fact here. Hey, Tom, you've been sitting there front row center for both of these rosters. You know, who do you think is this, or what do you think about this guy from Raw facing this guy from SmackDown, etc. They could play that up, but I mean, they really don't talk about Superstars or Main Event at all, so I'm not lynching my pin to that. Now, here's where the bigger question is. I mean, obviously, you've got Lawler, you've got Booker T, you've got various other people that are going to be involved in the pre and post show, the kickoffs, etc. That's fine, that's whatever. Where my question comes in is, if Corey Graves is one of your main commentators on Monday Night Raw, Tom Phillips is going to be touring around with Raw and SmackDown so that he can do commentary on Superstars and Main Event. What is going to happen to the commentary on NXT? Because I don't see them. I mean, they could bring them back to the Performance Center and rah, but then you've got, when we talk about people going from NXT to the main roster, the commentary team on NXT is going to be a bit biased, because you got Tom Phillips, who kind of watches both brands, and Corey Graves representing Raw. You don't have a strong voice in NXT advocating for NXT when we talk about a new NXT talent going up. Now, who do I want to see on commentary? Somebody that we saw do a bit of commentary in the early days of NXT, and then for whatever reason got promoted, demoted, moved, shuffled around to doing backstage interviews and doing specials and doing the pre-shows and the panels and whatnot, and that's Renee Young. And we talked at the time when she was on commentary a little bit, along with Prince Albert and a couple of other people, that it was kind of cool to hear a female voice at the commentators table. We need that. The women's revolution started in NXT. The women's division in NXT started the women's revolution on the main roster. I wouldn't mind at all, and I think it's actually quite overdue to have a solid female voice in NXT while those girls are being brought up. Now, should it become an overwhelming thing? Should we really blow it out of proportion? Should we celebrate Renee Young every week? Oh, good for you, you're a girl and you get to be a commentator. No, you don't do that, because that becomes patronizing. Put her on there, put her with somebody. I mean, if Tom Phillips is going to be the jack of all trades, make it Tom Phillips and Renee Young. Maybe have Renee Young be a heel commentator. It would be great. Now, if you don't use Renee Young, you got one other person there that's really only done the panels and the pre-shows and the kickoffs and whatever, and that's Lita. Lita's a better speaker than most people give her credit for. That's my humble opinion. Put Lita, who was, again, because NXT is the birthplace of the women's roster that WWE has right now, get virtually a legend in the women's division in WWE like Lita, who has that universal respect and following and rah-de-rah-de-rah. put her down there in the developmental where she knows better than anybody else what it's like to be starting out, be doing that day one stuff, and she can speak to it, she can add her personal experience to it. Corey Graves got the start of his story and then never really got to go anywhere with it because of his injuries, unfortunately, and all that sort of thing. And I feel really bad for the guy, and Triple H giving him the job that he has now is really fucking fantastic, and he's shown himself to be a really great commentator. Lita took that starting point and took her career as much as you could possibly do in the WWE. I mean, she didn't do the China stuff like holding men's titles and competing in the Royal Rumble and stuff like that, but you can't hold that against her because the opportunity wasn't presented to her. I've always said Trish Stratus versus Lita is the Rock Austin of women's wrestling, and anybody that disagrees with me can disagree with me, that's fine. But I think she would be an uncountable asset on NXT as a commentator, or as even as a personality on NXT. But Phillips and Graves being moved sort of up the chain a little bit does leave NXT commentary as a bit of a question mark. They could leave them on NXT as well. I don't know. I think there would be a little bit of inconsistency there, but that's just my opinion. But to recap, and to put a little bow on all the rambling that I'm doing, Cole, Graves, and Saxton on Raw, Morrow, JBL, and Otunga on... Cole, Graves, and Saxton on Raw, Morrow, JBL, and Otunga on SmackDown, Tom Phillips and Corey Graves on Superstars, Tom Phillips and David Otunga on Main Event. Pre-shows are going to be Lawler, Booker T, and somebody that we don't know yet, and we literally don't have any concrete answers on what's going on in NXT yet. Now, talking about the draft itself, they're playing up this story about Heath Slater being really pissed off that he was the only one in the WWE not drafted to a roster, and apparently he, as part of this pissed off storyline, they're releasing him to go work some indie dates to play up the fact that he left WWE and he's all pissed off, and I think this is going to be really cool. I really do. I don't know where they're going to go with it exactly. We all saw when CM Punk left the WWE with the WWE Championship and showed up at some various things, took some pictures of the belt in his fridge, etc. If CM Punk had gone and shown up in ROH or TNA or whatever with the WWE belt, it would have gotten everybody talking. Now, Heath Slater's obviously not a WWE champion, but if he goes and shows up at a PWG or an Evolve or an ROH or whatever, even if it's just to poke his head in, even if it's just to go start a fight with somebody, let alone have a match, I mean, obviously it would be signed off on WWE ahead of time and it would be part of a story, but they've never done shit like this before, and I think it's really cool. The way they've used Evolve to assist in the production of the Cruiserweight Classic is a great example. The way that they've branched out and they do include ROH, and they've even talked about TNA. They're breaking down Triple H hugely is breaking down those barriers, acknowledging the rest of the world outside WWE, and I think that's fucking great because you can do something like this where Heath Slater tells the WWE to go fuck themselves because nobody drafted him, and goes and makes a ruckus and makes a bigger name for himself, reinvents himself at some NXT level, and comes back to the WWE. Now, Heath Slater's not a big WWE name, but he still is a WWE name, so whatever independent company he's going to be working with, be it Evolve or be it anybody else, is going to benefit from a known WWE star being on their show, even if it is a Heath Slater. And I hate to say even if, like, he's some small potatoes guy, because I do like the guy. I think the guy's versatile. I think they don't give him anything that will ever, sorry, I should rephrase the way I say that. I don't think creative has given him anything that would be great, and that's why we haven't seen him be great. I have him on my video game. I've said this very many times. Every video game I've had that's had him in it, I've put him in a really wacky tag team, and I've had them as champions. WWE 2K16 right now, sitting on my shelf over there, the tag team champions are Heath Slater and Baron Corbin. Just because Heath Slater could be something cool. When the U.S. title was definitely the third belt, I thought you could have a great U.S. title feud between Heath Slater and Zack Ryder. Would it be the main event? Would it be spectacular? No, it would be a classified third card feud. It wouldn't be mid card. It wouldn't be top of the card. It would be designed to be a bottom of the card feud. But you need to acknowledge bottom of the card wrestlers. I've said this a lot. I say it with Zack Ryder. I said it with Santino Marella. I say it with Breezango now. you need to have a classified low card, because the mid card is supposed to be the mid card between the high card and the low card. When you bring people up and they're automatically in the middle of the card, it feels like they've skipped a step. That step could be guys like Heath Slater, guys like Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley, etc., etc. Whatever they do to recreate Heath Slater, whatever this storyline is that he's going to fuck off and leave WWE and go pretend to be part of another organization for a while, it has a lot of potential to it. Now, where he's going to be drafted after that, it's probably going to be SmackDown, let's be real. But as far as other people coming back, the two newest rumors that I have heard, and this is just today, and this is again from NoDQ.com, is Rhino and Curt Hawkins. Now, Rhino isn't that surprising. Rhino's been in and out of NXT, helping people out. He had a match with Samoa Joe last night on NXT. Not gonna lie, kind of fell asleep, but he's kind of trying to be a cog in the wheel of putting other people over, which is great. When they did a little tiny mini ECW versus the Wyatts thing like a year ago that was shit, he did show back up on the main roster. He was dressed in black and pink, and a lot of people made jokes that he was trying to be the bigger, jacked up, you know, Bret Hart on steroids type deal. But again, he could be there as a big thug that the new talent need to get over. The same way they use Mark Henry, the same way they use Kane, the same way they use Big Show, and the same way they're going to use Braun Strowman now. Let's be fucking real, separating him from the Wyatts. So that could either take or leave, whatever. Curt Hawkins is the interesting one for me. Not because I think he's going to set the world on fire, but before they broke up as a tag team and Hawkins went and did the thing with Tyler Rex, and then Tyler Rex left and whatever. Everybody remembers when the Major Brothers teamed up with Edge. They became the Edgeheads, and they dropped the Major Brothers name, and it was just Curt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder has obviously done a lot since then. You could reform this tag team on SmackDown, or you could have some tension between Curt Hawkins and Mojo Rawley, because, you know, you used to be his tag team partner and you fucked off for a while. I'm his tag team partner. We've had some relative success. Or Zack Ryder could win the United States Championship and say, guys, you know, don't fight over me. I don't want to be in a tag team. I'm the fucking US champ. There's a lot of ways you could play this. You could have Curt Hawkins come back and attack Zack Ryder, you know, for, you know, I fell off the face of the earth and you went on to a moderate level of success. You know, you left me behind in the dust and you've done what you've done. So he could come back, heel, and feud with Zack Ryder over the United States Championship. Or he could attack Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley could come in and take him out. Or he could come in and he could do something not related to Zack Ryder or Mojo Rawley at all. I'm just saying, him coming back is an interesting thing, because him showing up again, he's going to be a low card guy, but it's funny to think that even though he's such a low card guy, he could come back and the structure is already there for it to go several different ways creatively, and it wouldn't be that hard. I think it's really cool. Those two, Rhino, like I say, it's not that surprising, but then again, Finn Balor being drafted to Raw wasn't that surprising. We all knew about Daniel Bryan before he was announced as the SmackDown GM. Why are we dinging? I'm trying to do a video. It's very, very cool. It offers a lot of opportunities, and Rhino, he's going to go in there, he's going to put over other people. He's going to do the Jericho bit. But other names being mentioned, and some of these I've heard, some of these I've not. Jinder Mahal, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, Melina, Kurt Angle, which we've heard a lot about, and of course, my boy Jeff Hardy. Now, I'm not even going to go into Jeff Hardy, because you guys know how I feel about Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy, as far as not who's better, not who's worse, but as far as my personal favorite wrestlers, you guys know he's top 5, at least. On a really good day, top 3. Final deletion notwithstanding, because that was kind of garbage. Kurt Angle, his resume speaks for itself. He could come in there, he could do the whole Team Angle thing, he could do the whole mentoring American Alpha, which a lot of people have been talking about. Or, here's a brilliant idea, because he doesn't wrestle full-time, he doesn't want to wrestle full-time. He could, not, again, like Hawkins, not team up with anybody, not do any of the bullshit that people are speculating about. Oh, if he comes, he's going to do this. Oh, if he comes, he's going to do that. I've done the same thing. Kurt Angle could come in and say, fuck all of you. I'm just gonna come in and fucking wrestle. I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna put somebody over. I'm gonna come in. Can you imagine fucking Kurt Angle versus Cesaro? Just saying. Melina is an interesting one, and I'm kind of selfish on this one because if Melina were to come in, you do have the possibility that Johnny Mundo, Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, whatever you want to call him, could be in tow. I can't imagine her competing on Raw or SmackDown while Johnny Mundo is down there in, you know, the Mexican bingo hall. Just saying. MVP, I'm a big fan of. Greatly underutilized. Fantastic heel. Could put any babyface over him. MVP, there you go. Put MVP in a feud with Apollo Crews. MVP will make Apollo Crews look like $1 million. That's just one suggestion. Shelton Benjamin could write his own fucking check. He had, back in his day, when he broke off from Haas, when he had his singles run for a little bit, when he was the Intercontinental Champion for what seemed like fucking ever, and got 3 straight victories over Triple H when Triple H was the champion at the time. Again, he's one of those guys, incredibly technical, incredibly American Alpha, Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, Chris Benoit-ish as far as his talent level, as far as his technical wrestling ability, but then there's a guy who's so technical, but made a name for himself in fucking Money in the Bank ladder matches, becoming the highlight reel, becoming the highlight of those matches when he was in them. Great guy. And of course, Benjamin, if you've got Benjamin and Angle in there, then you do have a previously existing thing. They could feud, they could team. Charlie Haas hasn't been mentioned, but obviously he's going to be in the back of everybody's mind if that happens. Jinder Mahal is another weird one. WWE had to get rid of Jinder Mahal. Or no, was it Jinder Mahal or Muhammad Hassan? One of them. One of them had the terrorist gimmick, and friggin' UPN just told WWE they had to get rid of him. But Jinder Mahal could be good. Jinder Mahal, just, again, great heel character. I mean, yeah, it plays up to the whole if you're not from America, you're automatically a heel. But here's the thing. Most of WWE's shows happen in America. So, yeah. I'm just putting that one out. And he wasn't too bad of a submission in the ring. You could stir up more controversy with the character than I would care about the matches, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But it's another very, very interesting. It's like, ooh. It's not, oh my god, there's your main eventer. But it's one of those you hear it and it's like, ooh. Ooh, that could be good. That could spark some debate. That could have people ranting on YouTube, or celebrating on YouTube, or debating on YouTube, and it would get the community kicking again. That's the kind of thing that would get the community kicking again. I'm sorry. Hawkins, even if they do some cool stuff with him, isn't going to get the community kicking again. Rhino, Angle, Jeff Hardy will for a different reason. But Jinder Mahal is one of those guys, it's controversy. You know, it's like, oh, Darren Young, somebody could go out with a controversial topic. Oh, Titus O'Neil got suspended because he's black. Darren Young is getting a title push because he's gay. Da-da-da-da-da, we're doing this with the women because they're women and feminists or da-da-da. I'm not saying any of those things, but I just, you know, there's certain people here on YouTube that want to push those red hot buttons to get more clicks, more views, more likes on their thing. Now that is kind of a leeching mentality, but any topic like that that's that controversial will get people talking about wrestling. They will be talking about the issues that are happening within wrestling. People will get pissed off, people will get offended, but people will be talking about wrestling. So yeah, there's that. Let's say all of these guys. Let's say these guys that I've mentioned right here, and this is where I want you guys to participate down in the box below. If all these guys are actually coming back, guys and girl, are coming back, who would you be most excited to see? Rhino, Curt Hawkins, Jinder Mahal, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, Melina, Kurt Angle, or Jeff Hardy? I know where my heart lies. I'm just putting that one out there. Anyways, this has been a bit of a ramble. This has been a bit of spotty news that I don't really do on this channel, but these are a couple of things that sort of hit me right here. Thought I'd talk about them for a couple minutes. Purposely didn't talk about NXT or the Cruiserweight Classic from last night. Like I say, life kind of got a little bit away from me last night. Wasn't able to do a video, but I did see both shows. I'm going to do a quick review, or a quick rundown, quick synopsis of both shows when I review NXT and Cruiserweight Classic next week. Hope that's cool. I don't know about you guys, but after the draft, I'm more looking forward to next week's Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown than I am Battleground. And that's kind of shitty to say, but it is what it is. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.